Hey folks, welcome to the After Party. The After Party is the show that we do after the Tech Jawn every week. I'm Robb Dunewood, and joining me is TechLifeSteph and Terrance Gaines. Normally the After Party is reserved for our patrons, but because we're not doing a live show next week, we decided to let the world see what happens in the After Party in case you would like to become a patron. So that's what we're doing. We're hanging out. We don't do tech necessarily in the After Party. We kind of just talk about whatever. And TechLifeSteph, I wanted to start off the after party with asking you this question about your president of your alma mater stepping
Man,
down.
listen. I mean, somebody had to fall on the sword, right? We just talked about this in the show with the CloudStrike thing and how that CEO is probably going to step down because of that fiasco. FAMU had a fiasco, and the buck stops with the leadership and the guy in charge, and there's just really like. Granted,
so tell the folks just in case they don't know. Tell people what happened.
If you don't know, a few months ago, FAMU, Florida A&M University, Florida Agricultural and Mechanical University, got the largest donation ever for an HBCU. Some guy, I can't remember his name right now, pledged $237 million to Florida A&M over like 10 years. A lot of it was in stock options of his company. He had some sort of cannabis company or something to that effect. And they were at graduation this past May. The president was holding up the big check, like Publishers Clearinghouse check, just hype that we were getting this much money. Much publicity about largest donation ever. Alumni was all hyped. Everybody was hyped for what we, had hoped it would be able to do for the university. As it turns out, this brother ain't had no money, and nobody bothered to check whether or not this brother had any money.
The thing is, the
trustees tried this before.
The board didn't even know that they were doing this. That was like, that should have told you something.
Yeah.
And he's tried this before at another university, and they was like, nah.
Right. and what Larry Robinson is the president of Florida, was the president of Florida A&M at the time. And he said, he was so impassioned about what the money could do. He ignored a lot of red flags, and he kind of took the blame for it. And I mean, granted, $237 million is a lot of money, and that could put some rose-colored glasses on a lot of different people, but as the leader of a university, you don't have that luxury.
I want to quote
not
him.
Doing your due diligence. You don't have that.
This luxury. Is what Larry Robinson said. I saw this unprecedented gift, the potential to serve our students and our athletic programs in ways unimaginable at the time. That's what he told the trustees back on May 15th. I wanted to be real and ignored the warning signs along the way. And it's like, well, bro, this costs you your job.
So let me ask. So let me put this out here. Do you believe that he wanted really, like, this was something that he knew that was going to change the lives of FAMU and yada, 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 so I avoided the warning signs? Or do you believe, maybe both things can be true, or do you believe that this was a popular thing that has been happening at college commencements over the past couple of years, to where somebody gets on stage and says, everybody in the audience gets free MacBooks, or everybody in the audience specifically,
or like Robert Smith paid for Morehouse's tuition.
I'm paying for all your graduating. I'm paying for all your tuition, or whatever the case may be. I've seen those on multiple occasions, not just as HBCUs, but at commencement speeches across the country in the United States. The speakers or whomever are doing this grandiose thing. And did the FAMU president or whomever kind of spearheaded this announcement, avoiding all the red flags, do you think they were trying to keep up with the Joneses as far as these over-the-top commencement speeches? Or do you really believe that he was like, yo, this may be something major, and against my better judgment, I gave it the benefit of the doubt, and it blew up in my face?
I think it was a little bit of both. I think it could have been. I mean, you can't not have ego get involved with $237 million. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Right.
Like you
right.
want to be the one holding the check. You want to be the one that gets to make the announcement. You
Mhm,
want to be the
mhm,
one that
mhm.
you want to be the hero, basically,
Right.
that brought this money home to FAMU. And so I think, I don't know, if I had to give it a percentage, I think it would be more 70-30. I think he really did want the money to help the
Right.
students and whatever. But I think
Mhm.
there is a part of that is ego based,
Mhm.
because what else would make you do this without vetting it
Right.
properly?
Right.
You know what I mean? That, like, that your desire to help kids didn't make you not vet this.
Right.
Your ego made you not
Right.
vet this, because that don't make no sense. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And there's a process for this in place to get money like that. So I think it was a little bit of both.
And the finesse skills of the 30-year-old who allegedly made the donation
Right.
was probably
Like
next level.
who is this dude? I have not seen
Right.
or heard a whole lot about this cat. I need to know who this dude is,
He'd
for
have
real,
probably
because
changed his
he
name and his social security number at
Joanne the
this point.
scammer. Yeah, I'm just like, come on, man. Who is this dude?
But yeah,
Like, clearly.
it's crazy. I don't think there was any question that he was going to have to fall on this sword, and he probably should.
Mhm.
But I did notice that he is taking a sabbatical and then will
Right.
come
And coming
back to the
back.
university
Right.
as a tenured professor. So
Right.
he's residing, but he ain't messing with that money.
Right. Little slap on the
Yeah.
wrist, and and I feel like, I don't I mean, I admit I don't follow administrative things at my school as closely as I probably could. But I feel like, because he's only been the president for 7 years, so he wasn't there very long,
Mhm.
and he was interim for a very long time before he decided
Mhm.
to go ahead and assume the actual role. So I feel like he kind of might have been thrust into that position, not necessarily against his will, but and I don't want to say begrudgingly, but maybe stepped up because no one else would do it,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
is kind of happy to be able to take the step back now. I don't think he's super mad
Good point.
about
Good
yeah,
point.
I don't think he's super
I
mad
didn't want to do this
about
job
not
anyway.
yeah, because honestly, I did, like I said, I don't follow it closely, but I did find it over these last years. I did find it very interesting how long he was being called the interim
Mhm.
That
president
went
of
on for
Mhm.
FAMU.
years.
It was a long time. Yeah, it was a really
So
long time. So I feel like he's probably like, "Yep, I'm gonna go get this tenure and retire in peace, and
mhm.
teach one class a week and call it a day." So
Yeah, and to relate, right? My university, Tennessee State University, it currently has some shakeups at the president level, and they've got an interim guy. And Tennessee State specifically has had some issues, or has some ongoing issues, as it relates to housing, as it relates to funding. Which, if you take that housing and funding and you take those and apply those across all HBCUs,
mhm,
they're all having the same
Right. Yeah.
always.
problem, right? So with no perfect solution, or no visible viable solution outside of, we need tons and tons and tons and tons of cash to correct this, which HBCUs do not have,
Mhm.
right? So I can imagine a interim president or somebody high up. It's like, these problems were before me, they were here when I was here, and I'm pretty sure they'll be here when I'm gone. So it's like, who wants to be the face, the where everybody says you need to do something about it. And it's like, well, what am I, me, one person, supposed to do about
But
this
all
age
the
old
more
issue?
reason you go
Right.
ahead and accept
Right.
$237 million
$37 billion. I'm
Right.
gonna fix
without
it.
doing
Yeah, yeah.
diligence, because you're just like,
Right.
this money would literally fix everything.
Change
Like,
It
it
would
would
fix
everything.
literally
so
fix
much.
everything.
I mean,
Yeah,
like
it would literally
Mhm.
fix everything.
instantaneous fixes for little things that
Yep.
HBCUs we just don't have. We understand that this is an issue. We simply do not have the money to fix it. So
Yep.
it would do a lot it would do a lot for that. And Terrance, to your point, this is like not just FAMU, which I believe is the second biggest HBCU. So it's a big university.
Maybe.
It's second,
Mhm.
second or third. I know they're really big.
Right.
Um, and all the schools are having, well, not all, many of the schools, most of the schools are having these
Most of
types
the
of
schools.
issues. And here's the other thing. In the last 2 years, I think that this year, this incoming class it'll be the third consecutive year in a row to where HBCUs have had maximum enrollment, or I should say the, record enrollment. So my youngest, her first year was the first year that it had beat like a record that had been, maybe 8 or 9 years. Then they beat it last year into this year. And, and according to the numbers that I've heard, they'll probably beat it again for the 2024 class. So you have more and more people trying to go to HBCUs that, a problem that the schools have is that they're landlocked in a lot of ways. They don't have additional lands that, the way that their land grants are set. They can't just go out and acquire additional land. They're in many ways, they're right in the middle of a city. There's no more land for them to get. So they're constrained by space, number one. And then number two, and this is probably, as important, if not more important than space, they're constrained by money. They don't have the money to go do these things. So you have way too many students for the number of dorms that you have. So, I know A&T, where my daughter goes, they had a bunch of freshmen that were staying in hotels this past year because they just didn't have enough dorms. So they literally went out and rented a hotel and put students in the hotel for the entirety of the first semester. So
that's crazy.
You're seeing, I think it was Fisk, maybe University, they're building like container apartments out of shipping containers. And from what I hear, those things are sweet. They're some of the best dorms on campus at this point because, they're semi-private. You just, it's just you and maybe one other roommate, or sometimes it might just be you. But yeah, there's a lot of issues that are going on at HBCU. And then in Florida, the political nature down there is like,
well, and that's the thing. And they're trying to use, they're trying to say the School of Pharmacy is underperforming, schools, all laws underperforming. But, I would be suspicious of those reports, based off of the type of funding and support they're getting. Because, Florida, they probably looking at FAMU as a DEI school that needs to be, defunded or whatever. So it's just always going to be some mess, basically.
Yeah. I do know this. Half of Black engineers, have gone to an HBCU at some point. I think it's like 60% of
engineers, pharmacists, doctors, lawyers, like everybody. Like you can look at that stat for any Black professional, and half of them probably went to a HBCU. So stop playing.
Right. So yeah, these schools are doing great work. So this president is no longer going to be the president. They got to figure out the date of when he actually officially moves on. But for those who are listening, I don't know how you could have gone a whole week because yesterday for us, we heard that, one President Joe Biden has decided to step out of the race, and Kamala Harris has gotten his endorsement. And it didn't even take 24 hours. We back to the birtherism again. So this is birtherism 2.0. So I just want to know, y'all might be smarter than me. Is Oakland, it's still part of the United States, is it not? Because I'm pretty sure that's where she was born.
I'm curious as to where you're hearing this birtherism thing, because isn't it obvious that she's, well, let me not say obvious, but who are you just like reading like social media posts? Is it something in the news that somebody is saying that she wasn't necessarily born in California? Is that what the argument, or is it just people just saying stuff over the internet?
This is probably a combination of both things. But it's like people in the in the RNC, it's people in Trump's circle. It's just people on the internet. But the thing is like what you want to be the case is not the case. What they want is that both your parents, or at least one of your parents, needs to be an American citizen for you to get it. I think that there is a large segment that just does not want birthright citizenship in the United States. If you're a naturalized citizen, that's not enough. Your parents have to be here, and they need to be citizens too. And I think that's what the problem is, because her dad is Jamaican, her mother is Indian. So, and they were,
so they're trying to say she's not a citizen because her parents aren't.
Okay. And Trump said it at some sort of, that's what I was trying to figure out. Are people just kind of floating the birtherism thing out there, or did Trump or somebody like actually
I think he said that before.
Yeah, he said it before when she was, when he was running against Biden the first time.
So it says, I'm reading this story. It says 24 hours after entertaining and amplifying a false racist birther conspiracy aimed at Senator Kamala Harris, President Trump had the opportunity to correct the record. He didn't. Neither
course
did
they
his
did.
son-in-law and top advisor,
Of course they
Jared
did.
Kushner. So he said something recently,
Right.
not just over the years, like since
Yeah.
she was floated as the possible Democratic nominee, which, side note, I don't want to get too far off tangent, but why are they trying to get Biden out there and not already have the person to replace her? Now they're kind of figuring out who's going to replace Joe Biden. Conventional wisdom says, oh, the vice president. But I don't think that's necessarily the case, but I digress. That's what I was trying to figure out. Did he say that recently, or has he over the years floated the idea that she's not an American citizen because her
He
parents were from
definitely
different
floated
countries?
it back when back in 2020 and before 2020. Well, she's not even qualified to be the vice president because she's not, well, she might be American, but her parents aren't.
Got it.
So,
Got it. Got it.
that's how that works.
And it's going to come back up, I'm sure.
But like I said, it's definitely coming back up. It's like, well, it's literally, this is the thing that people are saying. It's not fair. Her parents aren't from here. Why should she be able to be president? So I don't know. What do y'all think? Because to me, it's a whole hot mess right now.
Because this is literally what the country was founded on, right? Like people come into America to get a better life and make something of themselves. Like she literally embodies what this country claims is its foundational ideal. So why wouldn't you want her to be president? You know what I mean? Like I don't get it. What's the difference?
I don't know.
What's the difference? What's different?
I don't know. Can't figure that out.
Because if this was a white man and whose parents were from, Ireland and Scotland originally, like that would literally be the selling point. Came to this country with nothing and made something of themselves and worked hard and bootstraps.
Pulled him up by his bootstraps.
All the rest of that rhetoric, you know what I mean? That would literally be the selling point. Why doesn't it get to be her selling point?
Interesting question. It goes deeper than that, though. That was kind of coming from the right. Do you think that the Democratic Party is going to allow this? They're just going to allow her just to assume this nomination, or are they going to? Like I heard that Joe Manchin might throw his hat in.
I don't think. I think there's enough people already endorsing her.
Are they?
That
I've seen.
Well, so my
I've
thing
seen
is,
Democrats
again,
do
like,
some very, very self-destructive things, and I'm just wondering. Could this be where they try to push her out too?
No, I don't think so.
No.
But again, it goes back to my original point, though. It's like if the Democratic higher ups, whoever those people are, were really like behind closed doors over the past week or so, especially shortly after President Biden caught COVID, if they were so in his ear about, yo, you need to step down, yo, you need to step down, yada, 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 whatever the case may be, it's like, all right, if you're going to have him convince him to get out, I would think the number one selling point to getting him to come out is like, look, we are all in the corner for Kamala Harris, or we're all in the corner for Gavin Newsom, or we're all in the corner for Michelle Obama. I'm just saying names, right? This is the person that we are going to hold up to replace you as a selling point to you leaving. But I don't get the impression that the Democrats did that.
I don't think that was it. I think it was him. I think Joe Biden said, "I'm only stepping down if it's Kamala." I don't think other Democrats. I think if other Democrats had their way, she probably wouldn't have been the one. I think I strongly and I have no knowledge of this, so just going off a gut. I truly believe that it was Joe that said, "I'm not stepping down unless it's her." And now everybody just has to get behind her, especially after you get almost 50,000 Black women on a Zoom. Because I tried to get on that Zoom last night. There was a Zoom last night. Black women win. The hashtag is Black Women Win, or the website. I did sign up, but there was a Zoom last night with 44,000 Black women that raised almost $2 million in 3 hours for this woman. So regardless of what you felt before last
And
night,
she's an AKA.
folks
honor-
gonna have
honor-
to get on
honor-
board. Folks gonna have to get
They
on board.
raised $30 million in 5 hours. 30 million in 5 hours. So
folks are gonna have to get on board.
I don't believe that Nancy Pelosi has endorsed her at this point.
She has.
She came out.
Yep.
And I don't think that you're going to see Barack Obama do it until after the convention, which is pretty standard for most former presidents. They don't want to put their thumb on the scale before the country has made their decision, and then they come out and with a full-throated endorsement after we know that this is the person that's going to be running. So I know a lot of people are giving him a lot of flack today. Well, how come you haven't, this y'all supposed to be, thick as thieves. How come you haven't come out and endorsed yet?
His business,
right?
So, he is minding his black business.
So ain't nobody rushing to get George W. Bush to endorse Trump after whatever. It's like, man, let Obama live. Let them people do their thing.
Yeah, so, but yeah, I thought that was interesting. It's like, are we really going to do
the New York Times reported Nancy Pelosi's endorsement at 2:00 this afternoon.
Like, if she's come out, then it's pretty much a thing. Like Joe mentioned, he rolls his own way. Maybe he will do his own thing. To me, if he were to do that, it would cost him a lot of points, I think. I think it would cost him a lot of points. But I do know this. There's a whole lot of Democrats right now that's not happy that she's the one. Because if she wins, there's a good chance that she wins in 2028. Mm-hmm. So now that just changes everything up. I can't run in 2028. I'm too old at that point. They're gonna be talking about me like they talking about Biden at this point. So yeah, that's the thing. I just thought it was interesting, and I'm glad that we're doing this in the after party because we usually don't get that deep into politics, in the regular show. Last thing, y'all.
Speaking of politics, wait, hold on. Speaking of politics, Stephanie, tell the folks about your boy JD Vance and what he need to do to better protect his online security.
My Venmo post went low key viral.
It sure did.
Let me tell you my stats because I was super excited. I did for anybody who doesn't follow me on Instagram, I do content around different tech topics or whatever, and my most recent video is around JD Vance and his Venmo being public, and the fact that people were able to glean information around who he associates with, some of the emojis that had been used by some of the people he associates with were a little spicy in the transactional comment section and whatnot. So there was a lot of information that he should have been protecting and that we all should be protecting on a platform where money is changing hands. So I did a video with 5 settings you should change to protect your privacy on Venmo. Check out TechLifeSteph on Instagram. Follow me, please. But yeah, I got like my stats right here. I got like almost 9,000 plays. 773 shares, which I was
the number right there.
Excited about, like almost 1,000 shares and a bunch of saves and everything. So I was that type of content usually works really well for me anyway, just because it's I always make sure it's like super timely. Topical. So it's always topical. It's always time to something, but it's always very practical as well. So it's like, this is going on. This is what you need to do, kind of deal. Right. So it works really well. So I was pretty excited that it got as much traction as it did. So follow me on TechLifeSteph Instagram.
Yeah, it blew up.
Go check out what you need to do with your Venmo.
I've told you this before, even though y'all have not met personally. You and my wife are besties. So she was like, you see what my girl Steph did on Instagram? I'm like, what you talking? So she showed it to me. I was like, oh, look at this. And it's like, oh, look at the numbers. It's like this thing is going kind of viral at this point.
Doing numbers.
Yeah, it was there's a lesson in that timely content. But,
timely and relevant.
But I do know this. Unless they put Buttigieg as the vice presidential candidate, JD Vance has to be wiping his brow that he don't have to debate Kamala Harris. Because I think she would have eviscerated him.
Oh, ate him up.
Eviscerated him.
Easily.
I don't know, man.
She's a prosecutor, man. And he said a whole lot of stuff that she would.
But that's logic. Debates are never about logic, man. They are about how can I force my agenda or what I'm trying to say down the throats of the people listening. Damn what the person asked me, the moderator, damn what I'm responding to from the other person. That's never they shouldn't call it a presidential debate, because when you think of debate,
They should just get
Rob, you're
that
thinking of
guy. Did you see that guy that was the moderator
in
on that one debate
Colorado.
that went
oh
Yes,
yeah,
viral?
in
yeah, yeah.
Colorado.
They just need
Yes.
to
That
get him
local.
for every debate from this point on.
Right. But that, proves my point. It's like they're up there and they're just doing many stump speeches,
True.
but there's never a debate back and forth.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons why I don't watch presidential debates, specifically since we're talking about the president and vice president, is because there's never no debate. It's like nobody's checked. Like, really,
Right.
there's no
Right.
understanding. There's none of that. It's just like, all right, so what is your position on foreign policy? Well, I want to let the people know about immigration, and what's important to me is
Mhm.
I ain't asked you nothing about
Right.
immigration. I asked you about foreign policy, and that's what they do. And it's just
That's what
like,
they are. It's
I don't.
true.
So yes, you're probably right that Kamala does have those background chops versus we really don't know that much about JD Vance. But at the same time, you could just say whatever, and as long as it sounds good, people be like, "Oh yeah, that's a good job."
And that's the thing. People just and that's all they're going for are sound
Mhm,
bites.
Mhm.
They want
mhm.
their entire debate performance to be a series of sound bites that they
Clips.
can
Yep.
then,
Yep.
go viral with. And it is.
Right.
It's sad. It's a
Who
shame.
knows? I don't. I can't call this, but if I had to bet, I don't think Trump will do a debate. He's like, I did a debate and I destroyed it. I don't need to do another one just because y'all changed up. I don't need to say anything more at that level.
Well, he's already come out and said if he did one, because they had one scheduled for September, he wants it to be on Fox News.
Yeah.
He's already come out
So
and
yeah.
said
So basically, it's not
that
happening.
that's going to happen.
It's not
Yeah.
happening. So there's that. And it's
So Ray actually put a good suggestion in the chat. She said have an AI moderator who can fact check real time
Right.
what they're saying and throw that shit up on
they
the
don't
screen.
make
That's not a
computers that
bad
fast.
idea.
We don't have computers that fast yet. It's like
But that's not a bad idea
it would
though, to
not.
like
Mhm.
real time, baby.
And not
True
just
or
do that,
false?
put a buzzer so that like if they could do it while you're in the midst of telling the lie, that is not true. I would want to see something like that. Make it entertaining. Make it
Mhm.
entertaining.
Yeah. Yeah.
So y'all,
We'll
last thing
see.
I'll ask you about, the Olympics is going to start. It'll be darn near over by the time we do another show, or actually it might even be over by the time we do another, another live show. But like I said, I know Steph, you and I are waiting for the track and field. I don't think anything is going to get touched on at 100 meters for men, but I think that you might see potential like 200 record fall. Definitely for women, maybe. Because they're just putting some good time. So I'm really excited to
Yeah.
see the track and field. But I don't know if y'all have been paying attention to any of the basketball. The United States men won by 1 point over South Sudan. Not Sudan, the country that's been there for years and years. South Sudan, the country's been there for 13 years. They trailed most of the game and they were down. LeBron had to score, basically he scored with 8 seconds left, and then they got the ball, did not score, but they won against South Sudan by 1
I
point.
mean, do we think they're just saving their energy for the games? Or do we just think this is not the dream team of old?
I just know that South Sudan does not have indoor basketball facilities in the country. And these bros lost by. I saw a post. They, South Sudan won the game against the United States by losing 100 to 101. And they really did. I think that this has put them on the map because they're good. They've got NBA players. They got NBA caliber players, dudes that have been in the NBA, dudes that may get to the NBA. I think like there is a young man that's going to Duke next year, but he is projected to be the number 3 pick in the NBA draft. So this team has some NBA talent on it. But they took LeBron James and them to within 1 point of having the game tied to go to overtime or winning that game. And that just is absolutely shocking to me.
Well, so again, but you have to take into consideration these are just friendlies. These are pre-Olympic
Mm-hmm.
things, and I want to believe more along the lines of what Stephanie was saying, that these games really don't matter. So I could see our players, you know,
And
75%, you know, and then the Olympics come on, they ramp it up and start
I,
destroying everybody, because I think that's what we're waiting on. I think we're waiting on LeBron and Steph and all these players to just, I mean, just there's no doubt about it. We're destroying teams 200 to 75,
but we're
you know.
also not playing Michael Jordan, Magic Johnson,
Mm-hmm.
and fucking, you know what I'm saying? Like it's like, I know no shade against LeBron and Steph.
Mhm.
Y'all not Michael and
No, they
and the rest of them. You
they
know
are
what I'm
not.
saying? So they're just, y'all, like, they were superheroes. Y'all just good basketball players. You know what I'm saying? You know, with LeBron is up there, but it's like, this ain't Kobe, Shaq, and MJ. You know what I mean? It's a different caliber of player, I think,
And
honestly.
also the competition has gotten better.
There's that.
I
Absolutely.
would I would I would counter your argument about Michael and them. Who was Michael and them playing
True.
in the
Right.
Olympics? they weren't
True.
playing against Luka Doncic. They
Nah.
wasn't playing against Giannis. I can't even get his name out.
Right.
Giannis and them. You
Yeah.
know, they was playing
Not
against
and them.
Here's the
and
thing.
them.
Giannis
Giannis
and
and them.
them.
The top two players, maybe top three players, the top three players in the Olympics are not on Team USA. That's
Mhm.
crazy.
Well, and that's the thing. It's like, because the NBA now absorbs
Yeah.
players from overseas, then they
Mhm.
go home to play for their
Right.
country when the Olympics come
Mhm.
around. So it's just like, now you just got a bunch of NBA players playing against each other again in the Olympics, as opposed to in the NBA. So yeah, the playing field has been leveled,
Yeah. So
definitely.
you got Giannis, Joker, and Luka. They are at worst three of the top five best basketball players on earth, and none of them play for the United States. So that's part of it. But I just thought it was crazy that they actually took the United States to within a point, and they led most of the game. So it's like, yeah, the world has caught up. They are very, very good. But there's a video that's
It'll
going
change.
viral of how some of these young men have practiced playing in the rain, where they've built their own contraptions to have like the ball returned to them when they're practicing, because they don't have gyms. There is no inside gym in the country. So many of them are
It's
playing like
not.
in Australia and stuff like that.
Right.
It's nuts. They took Team USA to within 1 point. So y'all, we went a little long on our after party, but there's a reason, as I said.
And just FYI, the Netflix specials, there's one with Simone Biles, and there's one called Sprint, which followed Team USA to the World Championships last year, that are both very, very good, and you know, good to get you hype for the Olympics. So if you need something to binge this weekend, Sprint and Simone Biles, I think hers is called Simone or maybe Biles or something like that. They're both really good.
Okay.
All right.
So, folks, we're going to go ahead and close out this episode of the after party. Once again, the after party usually is a patron exclusive. So if you're interested in watching more shows like this, we do a half-hour show every week right after we get done recording the Tech Jawn. That is the after party. If you're interested in that, head over to thetechjawn.com. That's the tech, JAWN / or thetechjawn.com / and any one of those tiers over there will get you access to our after party. So hope you liked it. For those who have never seen it before, and hope to see you in the live stream if you become a patron moving forward. So until we meet again in 2 weeks, it'll be 1 week for
Y'all
people
take
who
it
are
easy.
listening, but for 2 weeks for us. You guys all have a good time. Take it easy.
All right. Take it easy.
Bye.